Well, hello, and welcome to episode 218 of Drink the Movies. I'm Brian here, as always, with Michaela. And Michaela, we were thinking of things to do for Mother's Day, right? You need something that is nostalgic and makes you think of, I don't know, your mom or something like that. And this movie in particular makes me think of my mother-in-law. This is her favorite movie, and that's potentially why you put it on the list. But I have a suspicion that your motives were not so pure because I have a feeling that you really like today's movie, and we're going to talk all about it.
I do really like today's movie. I forgot how much I love this movie, actually. I mean, it came out when I was 15, and I basically tried to be the main character since then, which is crazy. But you're right. It's funny because your mother-in-law, who's actually probably not a big listener of the podcast, but very supportive nonetheless, your mother-in-law loves this movie, and it was her birthday about maybe like a week ago. And so it
Mhm.
all kind of tied together, right? I mean, we love to pick out other people's favorite movies and do them like as an homage to them, and it's so great because this is such a heartwarming like it's Nora Ephron on top of Nora Ephron on top of Nora Ephron, and if you're not a Nora Ephron fan, you're not going to like it. But if you are, this movie is going to speak to your soul in a way that no other film is ever, perhaps. And there's a cute dog in it. Come on, it's great.
Uh, There's a cute dog in it that the dog handler kills. So there you go. And we talk about Nora Ephron films almost as much as we talk about MCU films. So go listen to You've Got Mail if you want to dig a little deeper into the Nora Ephron of it all. But what we're going to dig into is a cocktail. So, Michaela, what we need to do, let's take a quick break. We'll grab some brown sugar. We'll grab some chocolate bitters, and if that sounds like a chocolate chip cookie, that is because that's exactly what angels smell like, I guess. So let's go ahead and take a quick break. We will mix up this week's drink, and we'll be right back to chat about it.
It's caramels. He smells like caramels. It's cotton candy. Oh, nope, it's cookies. He smells like cookies, and the smelling that he smells more of it when he's in heat. I don't know,
Yeah,
dude. Chocolate chip cookies.
that's a weird way to describe someone as being he or an angel for that matter. But yeah, absolutely. I guess Michael, John Travolta's character, the archangel there himself, smells like cookies. So when we were talking about doing this movie and taking a look at cocktails, we of course had to do something that was cookie adjacent, cookie centric. We looked at a couple things, right? You have like cookie martinis, you have like I don't know, like blended like cookie things and sweet things and stuff like that. But we thought we should have something a little bit more highbrow. You know, we're in the presence of angels here after all. So we thought what we could do is mix up a chocolate chip old fashioned, and I have to say, it's pretty good.
It is pretty good. Yes, and you know, Brian, what makes this cocktail so amazing is that brown sugar vanilla simple syrup that I'm gonna tell everybody how to make.
Hmm.
It is the best. We have to talk about it. Oh my gosh. I'm going to say it again. Oh my gosh. Go out. Stop what you're doing. Go make yourself this simple syrup. I'm going to put it in everything. It is so decadent and wonderful. And you only need a little bit. Oh gosh. I'm going to be putting it in coffee. I'm going to be putting it on my cornflakes, just like Michael. I mean, it's so great. So yeah,
Yeah.
that I think is what is the key to making this chocolate chip old fashioned the amazing thing that it is, because it is a thing of beauty.
Well, yeah, absolutely. The brown sugar vanilla simple syrup is really good. And if you listen to our May the 4th special, we actually used some of the same or similar syrup in our coffee drink that we made for that. So this syrup is not only delicious in this drink, it is extremely versatile. Anything that you want to sweeten up, this has like a crazy rich depth of flavor that you get from like the molasses and the brown sugar and hints of vanilla. So it is like perfect for that. This would be perfect in like baked goods if you're going that route. Do whatever you want with it because this stuff is amazing. So Michaela, let's start there. Why don't you mix up some of this syrup for everyone, and then we can talk about constructing our old fashioned.
All right. So simple syrup typically is equal parts sugar and water. Okay. We're just using a brown sugar. Now you can use a light or a dark brown sugar. It really doesn't matter, whatever you have on hand. I believe I had light. You're going to do equal parts of that. Now you're going to want to watch this because for whatever reason, this to me, at least in my kitchen, in my physics life, the brown sugar is going to melt a heck of a lot faster than the regular like white refined sugar. So you're going to want to watch it because you do not want to burn it. If you burn it, it will be caramely, but it will also be kind of burnt, and you don't want that. So you're going to put this over a stove, or you can put it in the microwave, and you're just going to heat it until it is warm and the brown sugar is completely dissolved. Then what you're going to do is you can take a teaspoon up to a tablespoon of real vanilla extract and add that into it. I love vanilla, so I added a tablespoon. It really is going to just kind of give it just a little hint of kind of a different depth of flavor. It's going to kind of brighten it up a little bit. And then you're going to cool it because you want it to be nice and chilled when you're making it, for and adding it to drinks or whatever it is you're going to do with it. Now, most simple syrups, you can put in a jar. You can put a label on it because then you'll be like me if you're not, and you'll be like, what kind of simple syrup is this? I have no idea because I make so many. But then you can put it in your fridge and it'll stay in your fridge for weeks. So you can add it, like I said, to coffee. You can add it to other cocktails. You can add it to mocktails. You can do a lot of things with it. And I gotta say, oh my gosh, it is so good. It is my favorite simple syrup that we have made by far so far in my life. Now, we did a pumpkin spice one that was just amazing as well. This blows it out of the park. I am going to add this to like everything I'm drinking for at least the next 3 weeks until I'm out of my simple syrup because it's so good. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your made up and cooled syrup. You're going to take a bar spoon roughly of that and put it into whatever glass you normally make your old fashions up in, just like a small rocks glass with a large ice cube, hopefully, or a couple of ice cubes there. So 1 bar spoon of that syrup, and then roughly 3 dashes of some sort of chocolate bitters. I had a Mexican chocolate bitter that I use. That one's super chocolatey. So that one's really good here in this application, but whatever kind of chocolate bitter you have, about 3 dashes of that. That's really going to be where your like cookie kind of flavor and aroma is coming from between the brown sugar and the chocolate bitters. If you don't have chocolate bitters and don't feel inclined to go buy them, go ahead and just use some regular aromatic bitters. This is still going to be delicious that way as well. Go ahead and give that a little bit of a stir so the bitters get mixed up with the syrup, and then you're going to add 2 ounces of bourbon to that. Give it a good zhuzh there with your bar spoon, and away you go. If you want, you can garnish it with a cookie, which is delightful looking. My cookie was crumbly. It took me I had to take like 7 cookies, to get it just right so I could stick it in the jar, which was okay because I had 6 crumbly cookies that I got to eat while I was making this thing, which wasn't too bad. Sip and enjoy. This was really, really good. I liked this a lot. Definitely on the nose, is very like chocolate chip cookie-y from the chocolate and the brown sugar there. I do think that having more than one of these probably would have gotten a little bit sweeter than I would have liked. So maybe I would have, skipped the chocolate bitters and went to just a regular aromatic bitter, something like that. But this was nice, and it was kind of a neat way to play around with the old fashioned, which is, a drink we've made a couple of times in different iterations, but never something like sweet like this.
For sure. Now, if you want to go all out and you want to, make the chocolate chip cookies, Butternut Bakery has the best chocolate chip cookie recipe I've ever had in my life. We're not a sponsor, but we could be. We could be Butternut Bakery. Go look them up. Make those chocolate chip cookies if you're into making cookies by hand because they're insane. And the cookie as a garnish to this, I thought was really nice because this was sweet, but it wasn't sweet the way that like some of the other drinks that we were looking at were sweet. Like one called for a cookie dough bourbon, and it was like this with like whipped cream vodka, and it was going to be like just a sugar bomb, and that would have been fine. This I thought you could really kind of tone it down or up in the sugary level and the sweetness, and then you could partner that by having your cookie on the side. So it was really a lovely kind of take and a playful take on a film. And yeah, it smelled like cookies. It was
Smelled like cookies.
weirdly.
Smelled like John Travolta. I don't know for sure, but yeah, that was this cocktail was great. So go ahead and mix one of these up and try it out. Play around with your old-fashioned ingredients and let us know if you come up with a good one. And now that we have this made, Michaela, we need to talk about Michael, right? It's been a long time coming, 1996 to today. So let's get a cookie old-fashioned. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back to chat about this week's film, Michael.
Are you with the angel?
Do you see an angel?
I don't think I do.
Then how could I be with them?
We don't know exactly how it works with angels.
If he's in the room, then you're with him. If he's somewhere else, then you're not.
And that's why we can't see him now.
Are you impaired in some way?
Miss Winters probably has never heard of an angel living in a motel.
Oh, you think I'm full of...
No, nothing like that.
Michael! Are you coming down, dear?
Yeah. Just gotta find my smokes.
Spoiler warning for Michael. If you've not yet seen this film, you should because it's amazing, number one. And number two, we're going to talk about all the things. Uh, if you were listening to the earlier part of this podcast and you hadn't seen it, we spoil a little bit at the beginning anyway. So hopefully you've seen it. But if not, press pause. Go make yourself this chocolate chip cookie old fashioned. Make yourself the brown sugar vanilla simple syrup. Just do that. If you do nothing else, do that because that's amazing. Make yourself a drink, go watch this film, and then come back and we can chat all about it.
Watching Michael is not required, but making that brown sugar simple syrup is required for sure. This film was released on Christmas Day in 1996, which makes it, by my estimation, 29 years old. Is that right? Is my math right there? So this was written
Yep.
and directed by Nora Ephron, and it stars William Hurt and Robert Pastorelli as Frank and Huey, the writers and investigators for the Chicago-based tabloid The National Mirror. Andy McDowell plays the pretend angel expert to Dorothy, and John Travolta plays the archangel Michael, who is taking one last spin on Earth. We also get Bob Hoskins, Gene Stapleton, Terry Garr, and Joey Lauren Adams in this film. So, Michaela, you mentioned that you saw this back in 1996, probably 1997. It came out on Christmas Day. So you were still a youngster then. Nora Ephron, in your wheelhouse. We've talked about her a couple of times, right? And the best thing she did when Harry Met Sally, writing that there. And we've talked about a couple of her directorial things here between You've Got Mail and now Michael today. So impressionable youngster Michaela goes and watches this and decides that this is a blueprint for how you want to live your life.
Yeah. Um, Unapologetically, yes. So actually, before this film, I was an angel and I was a self-called
It was
angel.
Mad Max
Um,
up until then.
it was Mad Max up until then. So, oh my gosh. Um, no, but this film really kind of spoke to me, yeah, because it's got some amazing talent in this movie, right? Like you can laugh at it and you love to hate on all the movies that are my favorite, but it's well written and it's got some really heavy hitters like William Hurt. He was like an Oscar nominated actor, right? Gene Stapleton, Bob Hoskins is like a English national treasure. John Travolta. Now this was right after uh Pulp Fiction, I believe, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
so
2 years.
this was
Yeah.
kind of yeah, so this was kind of picking up on more success for him. He was doing a lot of different kind of things, right? Like in 1991 he did Shout, which did not go well. Then he moved on to do Pulp Fiction. Phenomenon was right around this time. Like there's like a lot of different takes on it. And I remember everyone kind of went nuts about the idea of John Travolta being an angel because the whole idea is that he's like this fat kind of slob angel, right? He smells apparently like cookies and women just love him. Like every woman wants to be with John Travolta and he's wise beyond his years. He's an angel, not a saint. He's like this lovable like chubby angel, which I mean, hello. Why wouldn't you want to be that? That is so me. It's so funny that I saw this and was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go all in. Gonna go all in on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first time I would have seen this would have been later. I was probably in college, I guess. So, around, some 2002, 3, 1, I don't know, something around in there and watched it at Christmas time because this is a Christmas movie. So we're doing it out of season. Technically, it was released on Christmas Day and even get like the very opening scene of the film is they're there to like show, like get a picture of Santa Claus with the elves and the little dog there. The dog is played by Sparky, who's playing himself because Sparky is the best dog that there ever was, and he's there, and we find out that this is all like a front page story kind of a thing for this, grocery store checkout lane tabloid called The National Mirror. So we learn a little bit about that, right? So Bob Hoskins is playing Vartan Malt, I guess is his name. I don't think they ever even say his name in the movie, but basically he is there. He is the boss man, and I love seeing. Bob Hoskins in this because we've done some Bob Hoskins stuff, Who Framed Roger Rabbit not too long ago, and like I feel like the only things I know, like in my head, that Bob Hoskins is English, but the only thing other than this that I've ever seen him in, he has an American accent, so it's always wild when he has his like own like actual accent in his movies. That's pretty fun. That's pretty fun, and he is loving Sparky the dog. Sparky the dog is like a superstar. He's like the National Mirror's icon there, but unfortunately for Vartan Malt. The dog isn't his, right? Sparky does not belong to him. Sparky belongs to Huey Driscoll, who's played by Robert Pastorelli, and he has like kind of like a writing. I don't know, like work partner, like work pal, named Frank Quinlan, who's played by William Hurt. So let's talk about that duo first. We can, kind of slide Andy McDowell in here as well, because that's exactly what she does in the movie. Thanks a lot,
Yeah.
Barton Malt.
Right.
So let's talk about them. Let's talk about kind of their dynamic and how they end up going to Iowa to meet up with Michael in the first place.
Yeah, so Frank and Huey, I love it because even at the very beginning, again, it's the writing I think is actually pretty insightful. Frank Quinlan is the brains, I guess, and Huey is the heart. And it's interesting because Huey's like, wait a minute, are you saying I'm not smart? And Frank says, I'm saying, Huey, that when we put us together, we make one whole person, and you got the heart. Um, Frank doesn't have any belief in any of the things that he's doing. He's definitely kind of this writer who had been really well known and well appreciated. He'd been accoladed with awards and stuff from the Chicago, I think, the Tribune, but he's kind of fallen from grace, and we find out about that a little bit later. But Huey just needs to keep his job, and he does something horrible to a Christmas tree. Now, granted, I forgot that this was a Christmas movie. I will say that because there's really nothing Christmassy about this film at all, other than the opening scene and the fact that there's this whole shenanigan around a Christmas tree. Note to self: don't cut a Christmas tree in half and think that you can put the top back onto the bottom if the tree is like the size of Rockefeller Center. It won't work. And because of that mishap, Huey once again is looking to get fired or to be demoted again because he keeps making these silly decisions. But right at the time that this is going on, Frank gets a note from Pansy Milbank. And I love this scene because he gets letters all the time saying, there's a demon in my freezer, and they go, I love the scene where they're kind of going through the call center where they're like, oh, are you levitating on the bed right now when it's happening, Mrs. Smith? Like all these crazy calls that come in, like my rat baby was born with 3 heads or whatever. And he looks at this letter and he opens it up, and Pansy is saying, hey, there's an angel named Michael who's been living with me the last 6 months, and I think it'd be really good if you just come out to, Iowa, in the middle of nowhere, and check it out. And she also says that she really likes his writing, that she thinks that he's got some extra wit, and that appeals to his ego a bit. But he goes in with this letter, and he saves Huey again from probably getting very close to fired, or at least like living on a janitor salary or something. And Mr. Malt is fine with them going on this little trip, going and seeing this angel. They've enclosed a picture, so it looks like maybe this could be kind of legit because you don't really see a close up of the picture, but you're like, I should go check this out. But there's one caveat to this whole deal, and that is that Annie McDowell's character, Dorothy, who's supposedly an expert in angels, is going to go with them.
Yeah, absolutely. She is going to go with them. And it turns out, spoiler for later in the film, she's not really an angel expert. She's being planted in there by Vartan Malt, right, to keep an eye on things and potentially to take over the job for Huey when this likely, goes south, right? It's not going to go very well. I do like Huey's like, I can't live on a janitor's salary. So even, 30 years ago, we knew that janitors were underpaid. So that's good. So real progress there
Right.
we've made. Yeah, and so they're on their way to Iowa. I also like that you get Frank there. You mentioned that he gets like the letter uh,
Mm.
from from Pansy Milbank, and I like that he has like a stack of letters, and he just like throws the first 2 away, and then for some reason stops on this letter. Maybe it was divine intervention. Who knows for sure? I don't know why he decided to stop on that letter because there was nothing like super descriptive about it, but they do, and they're on their way to Iowa, and they make their way to what is it? It's like the Milk Bottle Inn or something like that.
It's the milk
So
bank. Yeah, the
the milk.
the milk bottle hotel or the milk
The
bottle
milk,
inn.
the milk bottle hotel or milk bottle inn, and I like it then because they go up to the door and they knock, and eventually Pansy does come to the door, right? Even though it's very slow to get there, and I like he's like introducing them, and she has like no idea what they're talking about, but she sees Sparky the cute little dog and Sparky, national celebrity. So she, of course, invites him in and then like slams the door on the rest of their faces. But they do get to go in and they learn a little bit about from Pansy about Michael before Michael descends down and graces everyone with his presence.
Oh, and I love that scene because they're expecting something very different than what they get. John Travolta, I think he had to gain 30 pounds to play this part, which is interesting, right? Because people get accolades all the time for like looking a certain way in movies. He looks awful when he first comes down. Like he's in his boxers. He's looking very scruffy. Looks like he hasn't showered that day. It's the end of the day, so he probably smells great. But they think he smells like cookies. They think she's baking. They're like, "Oh, you must be baking." He comes down. He's got like a cigarette. He's but he's got wings. And Frank and Huey are like, "Oh my gosh!" They get a room because he doesn't want to talk to them that night. He wants to see them in the morning, and they go to this trio of rooms. And I really love this scene because all the rooms, all the houses, even though they look like they're different houses, somehow they're all attached. And so Frank and Huey are literally singing Jesus's praises. And they're dancing around and they're like, "I set for life. He's got wings. This is amazing. We're going to exploit the heck out of this guy. It's going to be awesome. I might even get a raise," right? And then Dorothy comes in and she's like, "That is not an angel." And they're like, "It is too." Since what do you know about it? And she's like, "I'm an angel expert. And I'm telling you, that's not an angel." And it comes out because she's so skeptical. And they have no illusions that this guy's an angel. They know he's not an angel, but they're like, "We don't care. This is gonna be great." But she's like, "Oh, he's using her for her money because he's sleeping in her house. He's not in one of these rooms, so you don't know what kind of relationship they're having at all." She seems Jean Stapleton, the characters, Pansy Milbank, she is very fond of Michael. You can only imagine why. She's and Dorothy's not having any of it. She says he's an older man, or she's an older woman. He wants her money. Isn't that obvious? And it comes out that Dorothy has had really rough luck when it comes to love. She has been taken advantage of at least once. She talks about one of her husband, Bradley, who stole her Camaro and ran off, and not good, not a good experience. So the next morning, it's breakfast time. And they tell the story of how Michael like came to be, right? How he shows up after Pansy is about to lose her entire fortune after her husband dies, because they moved a highway and she doesn't get any truckers anymore. So she's going to lose her entire house. And that doesn't seem right. So she prayed for a miracle and Michael came down and he smote the Bank of Ohio. Or Iowa, whatever.
It's the Bank of Iowa. Yeah, he does. That's kind of the opening scene, right? You get the
Right.
the highly I don't know, either love it or you hate it, I guess. Randy Newman song there at the beginning of this pair driving to the bank, and then you see the bank just being smited and collapsing down to earth there. So that's pretty fun, I guess. Way to open the film. Yeah, so absolutely. So he's there. They get introduced to Michael, like why he is there. Of course, that just makes Dorothy even more skeptical of Michael than she already was. But unfortunately, bad news, Pansy. This is going to be your last day, right? Doesn't make it really past today. But Michael says, "Okay, well, my job here is done. So I'll go with you now. We can go to Chicago, right? And get some pictures of me. That'll be good. But this is going to be like a road trip." Type of a thing, right? We're going to go see this ball of twine. We're going to go do these other things, all this stuff. So I'll go to Chicago with you, but you basically have to like bend to my will and do what I say. So this crew is going to be off and running.
They are. So a couple of things happen. He agrees to go to Chicago, and Frank is like, "Hey, dude, we should go." And he says, "I will not take pictures, but you're going to owe me an apology." And he's like, "Oh, okay, fine." Frank doesn't care. He's like, "Whatever's going to get you in the car, man." Right. And I love this because Michael is an archangel. And if you have, if you've done any sort of Christian studies, he's not like that inner light. He's not a clean angel. He's like he smotes things. He's like the right hand of God. He's like battled with Beelzebub. He's an angel who will go and literally in a field he sees a giant bull and he decides to battle the bull and comes out alive. But he goes to Dorothy because Dorothy is not interested in this at all. She's like, "They're going to exploit you. I don't think this is right." Like, And he says, look, you're going to come with me, or I'm going to tell everyone why you're actually here. And we as an audience don't really know why she's there yet. But we know something is up.
Mm-hmm.
So they get in the car. And what I find interesting is he doesn't tell them that he wants to go to everywhere. First, he says, I would like to go to see the biggest ball of twine. So they drive there and they're talking to each other and they're getting to know each other. And they stop at a place for dinner. Now, this place I've been to. It's Green Hall in Texas. None of this was actually filmed in Iowa, I don't believe. All of it was filmed in either Chicago or Texas, believe it or not. And there is a place called Green Hall. It's in Green, Texas. And that was Joe's. And he goes in, they're looking for pie. I don't know why Frank is obsessed with pie. I never figured that out. But one of the most amazing scenes in the whole movie happens because they are at Joe's saloon. And Dorothy can't figure it out. She's like, why do all these women want him? Like every woman that lays eyes on this guy is like, just they can't keep their eyes off of him. They can't speak. He's like telling these women walking by that he'll be with them in a minute. And then he goes and turns on some music. And of course, there's a scene where he's dancing and the dancing is weird and he's flailing a little bit, but it's still great. It's Aretha Franklin. It's awesome. It's so good. And all the
True, I
men are
guess,
looking
yeah.
at it because every woman in this bar, except for Dorothy, okay, is like jumping on this guy in the middle of this dance floor, okay, and they're all like Texaned out. I love it so much. They're like in these boots, and it's so 1996. They've all got vests on.
Hmm.
It's so
Yeah,
great, and all the men are like, "What the heck's going on? Where's our Luann? What are you doing? Dancing with this weird dude in a trench coat? That's not cool, man." And so, of course, a brawl ensues. It's
yeah,
great.
brawl ensues. I like Dorothy is like, well, I don't find you attractive. Michael's like, that's because I
I
put a
put a block
blocker
on
on
you.
you. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that scene is pretty fun, right? And then they have the knockdown drag out fight, right? We just previously saw Michael, battle a bull, right? He just like yells battle and just goes to war. So I guess that's what you do. I like he has like the fight with the bull, right? And they run into each other, and that's actually pretty cool because it's like a big like animatronic bull like puppet thing that they use to do that. That looks pretty neat. But he says that that's like his like thousand like 19th like victory or like battle where he hasn't gotten hurt or something like that. So that's pretty fun. So yeah, they have this fight with these locals. They end up going to jail and then go out onto to go to court, right, the next day.
Mhm.
And you have the judge there, who's played by Terry Garr, and of course, Michael is able to get them out of that because Terry Garr is of course, not able to resist the charms of the Archangel Michael, there as it were. You get kind of the rest of this road trip, right? You learn a little bit more about the characters as they're going through. You learn a little bit more that Dorothy has been married about like I don't know, like 19 times and things like that.
Three,
You have
only
you have
three.
Frank, who also has been unlucky in love, I guess, as it were. So you see like that kind of thing start to show itself, and I, I'd say blossom if that really happened. It just seems like it kind of just starts to happen, and we learn a little bit more about Michael, and that's kind of his like new directive on Earth, and we learned that this is his last like chance to be on Earth, right? There's like a cap on number of times angels can come to Earth, which it seems I don't know, kind of strange, but he is there for one last ride, and this is his new directive is to get these two to fall in love. Bigger problems potentially could be addressed, but
So we addressed this in that very scene. Now, first of all, Michael likes sugar. The whole thing, like there's scenes where he's just eating mountains of sugar, and he tells people, don't
it's
ever
pretty
listen to
gross,
what
to
anybody
be
tells
honest.
you. They can never have too much sugar. It is, but it's also kind of endearing. So, Quinlan is truly like Huey is up for interpretation, right? Huey is the heart of the two of them. Frank Quinlan is completely oblivious. He is totally doesn't believe that this could be an angel. He's like, absolutely, it's not an angel. I'm going to use this to get more money or whatever, but that's all I'm going to do. So he asks some big questions, and one of the things he wants to know is why don't angels solve big problems, right? And Michael has an answer. He's like, well, we're also kind of in this sense we're given free will, and some angels waste their time. Um, and so they make fun of like the parking lot angel, and he says, I don't like to begrudge other angels their choices, right? But it's interesting because he tells a story of why he's there in like this idea and this sort of fable of the sun and the wind having a fight over whether a man can take his coat off. It's interesting that you think, Brian, as an audience member, that this is about like getting them two together when he
Mm-hmm.
tells Sparky in a conversation, right? Out there looking at the sun or rise in Texas, but it's really supposed to be Iowa, and there's like they're on a tractor looking over the fields. And he says it's a difficult case giving a man back his heart. So it's really so much
Mm-hmm.
more than just having getting Frank Quinlan a girl, right? Or having them fall in love. It's something entirely different. And it's so much bigger. But what I love about this is this really um they keep getting into trouble that Michael gets them in, right? Because he's the one who starts the brawl. He's the one who ends up getting them out of it because he's completely uh what is the word? He's irresistible to all women. So, of course the woman judge is like, whatever, it's fine. They decide to go to the world's biggest frying pan because that's something that's cool looking. And this is a real thing, by the way, if you've ever been. It's really
Yeah.
it's really interesting. But they have one more night in the pie capital of America, and this was probably your favorite scene because it's got this really amazing little actress in it who I've only seen in one other movie, and
Yeah, that's
that's
right.
Chasing Amy.
Amy, yeah, chasing Amy.
Amy
That's right.
herself. I guess she decides to hightail it, leave LA or wherever the hell Chasing Amy was and go to Iowa, I guess.
Chasing
Um,
Chasing Amy was in
she,
New Jersey. It hadn't happened yet because it doesn't come out until 1997. And also, Amy isn't not named Amy. Her name is Alyssa Jones. So,
right, whatever. Everybody knows that Amy is actually the Amy. Anyway, my point here is that she's in this, and I find her. I'm so sad we did not see more of her because she is
mhm.
a triumph in this. She is supposed to be like ditzy and just like really like sweet. And they ask if she has pie, and she's like, "Buddy, you're in the pie capital of America." And they have like two slices of every pie known to man, and it's all over the table. By this point, she's sitting on Michael's lap, and it's like the most normal thing in the world for them to be like just shoving pie into their mouths, talking about the different flavors. And there's that wedding couple that saves them on the side of the road because, again, Michael's going to get his way. If they say they have free will, but if they say that they're not going to take him where he wants them to go, he's just going to mess with the time. He's gonna create a flat tire. He's gonna do something because he's got a mission and he is going to fulfill his mission.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. They stop at the restaurant there. There's about 15,000 slices of pie on the table, which kind of grosses me out, to be honest. That much pie for people to eat. On a side note, like made me want to have a glass of water or something. Yeah, you get to see Joey Lauren Adams. That's pretty cool. She's there. Of course, she can't. She's unable to resist the charms of Michael, and they go off. And then the next morning, Michael is there, sitting with the dog, as you mentioned. We learn a little bit more here, kind of in this instance, right? We learned that Dorothy is not really there. She's not really a real angel expert, right? She's really like a dog handler, and we kind of get that foreshadowed a little bit at the very beginning of the story, right? Because she's like a dog walker. She's saying goodbye to the dogs, I guess, that is there before she goes off to take this new big fancy
Mhm.
job. And as it turns out, she is hired to basically be in charge of Sparky. Once this pair of knuckleheads, Frank and Huey, lose the dog, right? They don't get Michael back there. They lose the dog, kind of in this bet that they have with their boss, Vartan, there to get the dog. That's kind of why she's there, right? So she comes clean about the fact that she's not really an angel expert there. So everyone's kind of come clean about, I guess, where they're at really, like in life on their journeys and this particular journey like this. But unfortunately, some tragedy is going to strike. Sparky runs across the road, gets hit by a car, and that's not great. Poor little Sparky. I was ready to turn this movie off. I was like, nope, done with this movie right there. Because you have Michael, who's an angel who can bring the dog back to life, and they're like, Michael, do something, guy. What are you even doing? And of course, he says his tried and true line, I'm not that kind of angel, whatever that means. So you got to get this dog back to life. And he kind of looks at everyone, and he's like, all right. And he's like, if I do this, this is it. But here we go. So he does. He brings the dog back to life. So kudos there. and everyone starts seeing him. But we see like kind of this immediate like flush of life out of Michael, and kind of immediately after it's over, see that he's dropping feathers and things like that, and he's like, I don't have much time. We have to get to Chicago. So that's where they do. They get to Chicago, but they don't even make it like into the office. Right? They're kind of outside of the Sears Tower, which is what it used to be called, which is what it still is called in everyone's brain. But they do, and you get a really nice shot of him like laying down and looking up at the building. But unfortunately, Michael used his last good deed on Earth, I guess, or something like that to save
Mm-hmm.
Sparky. So I don't know. Did Frank's heart ever get 3 sizes too big that day? I don't know for sure.
No, it took a little bit later. It took a
A
little
little
bit
bit
later.
later. A little bit
But
later.
I will say, again, they don't take him, they're not taking him to the office. They're showing him the world's tallest building because he was interested in all the world's biggest things. So they have him look up and he sees the world's tallest building and it's the last thing he sees. And the whole time he was talking about how he's going to miss everything so much and he really loved Earth and he was doomed to live in one space and crave the pleasures of another. That was his thing, which makes all the sense in the world now, right? He likes women, he likes
Hmm.
sugar, he likes all these things, he likes to fight, like he likes all these things that we say, can lead you to the path of the devil, as it were, or whatever. And he was all about that, and he truly loved
Not the best
like
marketing for
he
heaven on a side note.
perhaps maybe figure that one out if you want more people to get there. But this part is interesting because right afterwards, right, they don't have a lot of time to argue. There's not a lot of exchange that happens between Frank and Dorothy. Now, they end up spending that night together, right? And she wants to tell him that who she is, but he isn't really having any of it. He's like, I just don't want to hear that this is a mistake. Don't tell me this is a mistake, because he's like really into her. There's a moment where she sings her like a song about pie. That's my song about pie. If anybody ever asked me to sing the song about pie, that's what I'm going to
Mm.
sing. He like totally falls in, and then seems to fall in love with her. There's this great kissing scene where it's very wholesome, but like Bonnie Raitt's Feels Like Home comes on, and I cry every time I see it. It's so good.
Mm.
Anyway, they get to Chicago. Michael disappears, like he kind of dies, and then all that's left are a bunch of feathers kind of flying in the breeze. They end up going back up to the National Mirror office, and they all kind of, without talking about it, they play their parts. So Dorothy says, "There's no way I can train Sparky. He is just an untrainable dog." Quinlan quits on the spot, and Mr. Malt has no choice but to keep Huey employed where he is, or else Quinlan, or else Huey's gonna take the dog, and he doesn't want to take the dog. And the dog, I don't know how they did this, but the dog becomes like this evil like dog to Mr. Malt, is like biting his ankles. It's so
Yeah.
great. I don't know how they
Well, he
did it
does.
without like hurting the dog,
Oh, without
because the
hurting the
dog
dog.
is
Yeah, because he's biting his
literally
ankle as he's walking. Yeah.
like chewing on everything, and it's so great. And you're never once worried that the dog's going to get hurt or anything, but like I don't know how they did that, because it's definitely a real dog.
I like in the opening scene when they first get him in there and Sparky's in the office and he like rips the leg off of a chair. He's a maniac,
Yeah,
Sparky.
yeah. He knows, though. He knows that Mr. Malt is the worst and Huey is the sweetest. But at the end of this whole exchange, Dorothy and Frank have kind of this moment, and she's like, "Oh," because he's like, "What? What's wrong? We had a good time. What do you mean? Why are you upset?" And she says, "Oh, it's you. I remember you. I thought you were gone." And she kind of walks away. And so they all kind of go their separate ways after this event, right? Huey stays employed. Frank goes to try and write a book. You can only imagine Dorothy. We see her trying to order angel food cake at a Starbucks
Mm.
with some friends, but she apparently goes back to dog walking. They all kind of go their separate ways, and you have one more song from Frank Sinatra, I believe,
Mm. Hmm.
while they're
Hmm.
they're kind of going through the holiday season together, right? And you see this last exchange between Frank and Huey, and Frank's like, "It didn't happen, as far as I'm concerned. That was just a figment of our imagination." And Huey's like, "Dude, you gave him your trench coat. You don't have a trench coat anymore. You really gonna?" And this whole time, by the way, Frank is like shoveling sugar cubes into his mouth, and then he takes a
Yeah.
whole, like he
Whole
takes
thing of
them
them.
off the
Puts them in his
table
pocket.
and he
Yeah.
puts them in his pocket. I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay." Um, But it's
Well, and
so great.
he goes to the Italian restaurant, and like all the specials for the day are all like on angel hair pasta. And of course, yeah, you get Dorothy there trying to order angel food cake, and you see like the art museum of Chicago has like a Michelangelo exhibit going on, but of course, like people are standing, so all you see is angel on it. So they keep getting reminded of this, and then you get Frank who's talking there to Huey, right? They're talking about, I guess, the future, what the future holds for them now, and Frank's like, well, it's not like I'm going to be like walking down the street and then get like some like divine intervention to make me turn, and then a car stops because it blows a tire, and woman of my dreams is going to step out of it, right? And then that kind of happens, but not really. So then he turns to go back his normal way home, and you see like the shadow of Michael kind of running through there, and he gives pursuit, and eventually, runs into Dorothy as you do. In the city streets of Chicago, and turns out she was kind of chasing Michael too. So even though Frank was just kind of very flippant and dismissive of Dorothy. He immediately just asked her to marry him, and she says no like three or four times. But if at first you don't succeed, try again. Just keep asking her until she says yes. Don't give her a choice. Just go with it. Just keep rolling one after the other. Right? Right, Michaela? Right?
No, no,
Oh,
that's not what happened. So,
wait a minute.
oh
Wait,
gosh,
what?
you
What does happen? What does
okay?
happen?
So she
Does that
in
maybe
her
happen though? Does
song,
that maybe
yeah,
happen though?
no, no, no. She wrote in her song how she was like, if there's an angel who's looking out over me, why did he give me three people to fall in love with who broke my heart? Because she had three husbands, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she needs to, find love and learn how to say no. That was her whole thing. So when he first asks her, and first of all, he doesn't ask her immediately. He tells her he's in love with her, and she's like, yeah, I know. And I'm in love with you too. It's so great. And then he's like, will you marry me? And she's like, nope. I'm going to say no because I need to learn to say no. And then at the end, like he does keep asking her because she doesn't really want to say no. It's so
Mm-hmm.
great. Now, it's a little fast for me as an adult watching this, but at
No.
15, dude, this was the best thing ever. It was like, this is so great. And it's so funny
You hook up
because,
once on a work trip, and then
and then
and
you get
then
married.
and then you get spurned when you get back to the office, and then you get married.
Right.
That's
And
it.
then you get
That's
married. But they decide to head home together, and then you have, I think it's another Randy Newman song. I don't know. Dark Side of the Bright Side of the Road comes out
Dark Side of the
because
Moon comes on.
right. But the light shines on this road, and Michael was there the whole time. But he wasn't alone. He had Pansy Milbank with him. And
Mm.
one of the things that I love about this movie is he talks about how he wrote things like Psalm 85. He invented things like standing in line to get into heaven. And he's like, Pansy, I invented marriage. And she's like, Michael. And he's like, well, I did. Before that, you just no idea. Everybody was just running around, people so mixed up, I didn't know what to do. And I said, have a ceremony. Goodness sakes. Now let's go home. And so they kind of dance around, and immediately Frank and Dorothy, they don't see him, but they can smell a bakery nearby because they smell his cookie smell. And
Mm-hmm.
he's succeeded. Michael has succeeded. He gave a man back his heart, which is actually much bigger than just falling in love, in my
That's
opinion.
true. Except there
And
was only one route for it, right? We don't. You hear more about Dorothy's like backstory and love loss, I guess, than Frank.
you do a little, but so here's what I find. Okay, and I really want to talk about this because here's what I find about compelling about this movie. Because
Hmm.
again, it's so much more. You laugh a lot at me about these films, but this one is so great because he is this enigma. You don't understand why he is so heartless at the beginning. You really don't get it. And Dorothy sees right through it. In all of the conversations that she's having with him, she says, that's not really what you want to ask. You want to ask this. That's not really what you're saying. You're saying this. And she is right every time. And he is so taken aback by that. And like in this scene where he's being utterly cruel to her, like they go to jail because of the brawl, and he basically tells her that she should only be with a dog because a dog will sit and stay and not speak to her, right? And it's actually really horrible the things that he's saying. And that's when Michael
Hmm.
steps in and says, "Now, I want you to apologize now. This is when you're going to say you're sorry, and you're not going to say sorry to me." And then he realizes how horrible he is and how hard he is against the world. And so even at the end of their time together, when he says, "You can't, don't tell me this was a mistake. I couldn't bear it." Like he's so vulnerable in that space. And then it makes perfect sense. If you are, a weathered human, that when you're that exposed to vulnerability, and you find out that someone is not who they said they were, because she doesn't tell him that she's not actually an angel expert until that we think Sparky's dead, that he then is
Mhm.
protecting himself. He's like, "Oh, no, no, we had a good time. It meant nothing. It's no big deal. You're not who you say you are either." And they never really address that um, until at the end. And so that piece, I think, gets lost on a lot of folks. Now, I've seen this film about 350 billion times, so that's why I love it, because I saw that part of it. And if you, as a normal audience member, don't see it, then maybe that's a failing of the film. But I saw it and I love it, and that's why I love it, because it's so much more about like how to give him back not only like this idea of love, but like faith. Faith in something that you absolutely didn't believe in. Like at the beginning, he was like, "This is a bird man of Iowa. This is not an angel. Angels don't exist. It didn't
Mhm.
happen." And then by the end, he is, and it's William Hurt, so he's just amazing. But the way he looks at her, and all his armor just kind of falls off, and he's like, and he tells her he loves her. And then he's like, "There's nothing else to do but get married. Like I'm tied to you forever. Like you're the only one who's ever seen through me, other than Michael, who was an angel. So it's a little different, right? Just yeah,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
my take
So
on it. Anyway.
there you go. There you go. Yeah, I don't know. Like I do agree with the sentiment that you have there. I don't think that it does like a particularly good job of laying that out. And I think that probably, multiple viewings and probably, meeting it a little bit more than halfway on some of that stuff probably, comes into account there for some of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, it is a nice love story, I guess, from that stance. And I don't know, like, I don't even like know how to like quantify this film. Like it's like a super. I think like IMDb has it listed as like a supernatural fantasy comedy drama fantasy, because it's not really like a romantic comedy. It's more of just I don't know, like it's just like a really strange comedy thing that is kind of like on one hand nice and quirky and fun, and the writing is good, but on the other hand you're like I don't even understand like how this could exist, right? Like where did like the idea for this come from? Like how did it come into being, right? So you have like both of those like dichotomies there, and I think that it's very like ambitious for what it was. I think that it's really well written. And I think that it's fun. It's a lot better than I remember it being, to be completely honest. And yeah, you could do a lot worse than this. Like I don't know, you've got mail. So there you go. So there you
Oh,
go.
oh, yeah. No, okay. Well, that's fine. I do like this film probably better than You've Got Mail. It had been a minute since I'd seen it. And I had forgotten how much of it I took into myself. And it's almost embarrassing now. Like I'll see this. I saw this and I was like, "Oh my gosh, how many lines have I stolen from this movie trying to be like just being funny, like
Mm.
when they're like, remember what John and Paul say, and of course everyone's like, the apostles, and Michael says, "No, the Beatles. All you need is love,
All you
you
need
got to
is
learn how to
love.
laugh. It's the one way to true love." Best joke that I've heard, best Jad joke that I've heard in a really long time, though. What's the opposite of
Mm.
white, Brian? Yoke.
Yoke. Yeah,
Yoke.
I don't know if that is the best dad joke I've heard in a long time, but it certainly was up there. And that sweet station wagon that they're riding in on the road trip is pretty good. You know what else is pretty good, Michaela? That is our chocolate chip cookie old fashions.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was really good. That was really good. So go ahead at home, mix one of those up, and let us know if you do, and let us know what you thought about Michael. If you've seen it, if you are a fan of Nora Ephron, what her favorite film is, as Michaela is going through her whole filmography here on the podcast. Let us know which Nora Ephron film we should cover next. You can do all that stuff on our social medias. It's at Drink the Movies on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Facebook.com/Drink the Movies. If you want to get bonus content for the podcast, help support us. That's awesome. Do hangouts, bonus episodes, cocktail chats, all that stuff can be found on our Patreon. It's patreon.com/Drink the Movies. So go there. We appreciate our patrons so much. You can go to the website, www.drinkthemovies.com, which has links to all of the the episodes, episode recaps, pictures of the cocktails, pictures of our chocolate chip cookie old fashioned will be on there. You can go there. It's drinkthemovies.com for more information. Michaela, we're going to have some fun stuff coming up. We've got another new film coming up next week, so that's going to be exciting. It's going to be the second part of the thrilling Tom Cruise espionage. It's not even an espionage thing anymore. It's just like a stunt spectacular show at this
Yep.
point. But we've got Mission Impossible coming next week, as long as the movie theater doesn't let us down. So where can they get subscribed to the podcast to make sure they're following along with all the fun stuff we have?
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, Near Pods, whatever, wherever you listen to podcasts that is supported by Spotify podcasts. We will be there. We do 2 drops a week. We do our lobby bar, which is really fun. It usually is a really easy cocktail that even you can make. We talk about the box office and all the things that are coming out, either as series or movies. Then we do our deep dives like the one you listened to today that talk maybe about a more impressive cocktail, maybe not sometimes, but definitely we're going to be deep diving into some movies. Look, this summer is going to be packed with a bunch of new stuff. We have a Patreon site that Brian mentioned for some extra movie and cocktail goodness, but we also have Drink the Video Games. And I have to say, this last episode of Phantasmagoria is amazing. You should go. The cocktail's really good. The content is amazing. That's always a lot of fun. So check that out as well. We cannot do this without our listening listeners. With our listening listeners. Did you see how I did that? We can't do that without our audience. So really, hats off to y'all for helping build this community of moviegoers, series watchers, video game players, and cocktail drinkers, because we couldn't do this without you. And it is the best job in the world. So thanks so much for that. But that's where you can check us out on all the things. You can hit the subscribe button. You can leave us 5-star reviews. You can share all of our stuff on any social media that you have. We would really love it if you did that, if you built, because you guys are the ones who are making this community happen. So it knocks us out that you are. So thanks so much.
Absolutely. So that is going to wrap it up here for episode 218, Michael. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time on
Drink
Drink the
the
Movies.
movies.
Can't believe she killed that dog. Pretty rough.
Pretty rough. This is for you, Mama Chris.
You ran out of lines. You
I didn't
all
run
the
out of
lines.
lines. I mean, okay. The sun and the wind were having an argument, and the sun looked at the wind,
You
and the wind
already
looked at the
talked about
sun.
that. You already
Well,
talked
I
about
mean,
it.
I can say this whole thing.